Are you feeling stuck at a band 7 in your IELTS speaking test? Believe me, you are not alone. But what if I told you the key to unlocking that band 8 score isn't about cramming more vocabulary? It's actually about a pretty simple shift in how you think. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you the secrets that separate the good scores from the truly great ones.
So, let's get right to it. What is the real difference between a band 7 and a band 8? Well, it's not about being perfect, that's for sure. It's all about shifting your focus from what you say to how you say it. It's about turning yourself from someone who's just taking a test into a genuine conversationalist.
You know, an IELTS examiner once told me something that just completely changed how I see this test. They said, Band 8 students don't sound like a textbook. They sound like a real person. And honestly, this right here is the single biggest mindset shift you need to make. Okay, so what's really going on inside the examiner's head? Are they just sitting there with a red pen, waiting for you to make a mistake? Nope, not at all. They're actually looking for something much, much more human. Here's the thing. The examiner isn't your enemy. Think of them as your audience. And frankly, they want you to do well. So just take a deep breath, try to relax, and just show them what you can do. It's supposed to feel like a conversation, not an interrogation. All right, so now that we've got the right mindset, let's get into our first key skill, fluency and coherence. This is all about sounding natural, not like you've memorized a script. Let's see what that looks like in action. Just take a look at these two examples here. Which one sounds more like a real person talking? It is imperative that one engages in physical activities. Or, it's really important to exercise. It's the second one, right? Of course it is. That right there is the kind of difference that separates a band 7 from a band 8. And hey, let's bust a huge myth right now. You do not need a perfect native accent. Forget about it. Instead, I want you to think of your voice like a musical instrument. It's not about hitting every single note perfectly. It's about using rhythm, stress, and intonation, the music of your voice, to show you're interested. That's what examiners are actually listening for. So, how do you train your vocal instruments? Well, the secret is a really powerful technique called shadowing. It's kind of like having a personal pronunciation coach right in your pocket. And it is seriously one of the fastest ways to improve your fluency and sound more natural. I actually used to struggle with my pronunciation until I found shadowing. It's so simple, but it is so effective. All you do is find a native speaker you enjoy listening to, maybe in a podcast or a TED Talk. Listen to them, and then try to copy what they're saying as they're saying it. It feels a bit like singing along to your favorite song, and trust me, it's a total game changer for your fluency. Okay, next section. Develop answers intelligently. So we've talked about how to sound natural, but what should we actually say? See, it's not enough to just answer the question. A Band 8 candidate does more. They develop their answers, adding layers of depth and detail. This is where you can really start to shine. Ever struggle to structure your answers, especially in part 3? Just remember this super simple acronym, ORE. First, state your opinion. Then, give your reason. And finally, provide an example. It is a simple but really powerful framework that's going to help you give well-developed, logical answers every single time. Want to know a little secret weapon for developing your answers? It's just one simple word. Because. Every single time you make a statement, just mentally tack on because and explain yourself. It's a simple little trick that will instantly make your answers sound more detailed and way more impressive. Part 2. Oh boy, this one's all about managing your time. As you can see here, you really want to aim for a short intro, then get into the detailed main body, add a personal touch, and wrap up with a quick conclusion. So for example, if the topic is a memorable trip, you could start with, I'd love to talk about a trip I took to, then describe it all in detail, share how it made you feel, and end with, all in all, it was just an unforgettable experience. Following that structure helps you nail the full 2 minutes, every time. Okay, ready to talk about the two things that scare IELTS students the most? Vocabulary and grammar. But what if I told you the secret to a Band 8 isn't about being perfect, but about being flexible? I want you to think of your vocabulary as a toolbox. You don't need some huge, complicated toolbox to build something great. You just need the right tools for the job. It's the same thing for IELTS. It's not about using big, complicated words. It's about using the right words, things like idioms and phrasal verbs, in a natural way. So, for instance, instead of saying a book was very sad, you could say it was heartbreaking. Instead of very happy, you could say you were over the moon. Using a word like riveting instead of just very interesting is a perfect example. It shows the examiner that you've got a rich, flexible vocabulary. And now for grammar. Think of your grammar like a dance. You don't have to perform some super complicated ballet to impress people. A simple, elegant waltz can be just as beautiful. The same thing is true here. It's not about using complex grammar all the time. It's about using a nice mix of simple and complex sentences in a flexible, natural way. Let me break it down for you. You can start with a simple sentence. I live in Spain. Now, let's just add a clause. I live in Spain, which is a pretty big country. Easy, right? Let's add another one. I live in Spain, which is a pretty big country, although the weather is a bit too hot. See how easy that is? You're building complex sentences naturally without even breaking a sweat. All right, you've got the mindset, you've got the skills. Now it's time for the final piece of the puzzle, your game plan. This is how you're going to take all this knowledge and turn it into that Band 8 score you're looking for. You know, the single most important thing you can do to get better at speaking is to become your own teacher. Just record yourself on your phone, listen back to it, and be your own toughest critic. Find your weaknesses, your ums and ahs, the words you repeat, and then work on fixing them one by one. I'm telling you, this is the path to a Band 8. And hey, here's a little secret that's going to completely change how you feel about the speaking test. If the examiner interrupts you, don't panic. You should celebrate. Seriously, it is the best compliment they can possibly give you. It means you're speaking so fluently and giving such full answers that they actually have to cut you off to stay on schedule. It means you are doing everything right. At the end of the day, the IELTS speaking test is just 14 minutes. That's it. 14 minutes to show the world what you can do. It's not a test of your knowledge, it's a test of your ability to connect, to communicate, and to just be yourself. So, the real question is, are you ready to talk? I think you are.